warmer side of that front. And then tomorrow, the front finally meanders to the north, and so we get the warmer air that they're seeing down south. So with it, has the chance for thunderstorms as well. We'll time that out in just a second. So far, most of us are dry, maybe a few light sprinkles just to the north of 70. But other than that, we're going to stay on the drier side overnight tonight. Our best chance of rain coming in by tomorrow afternoon. Chicago, once that front's rolled through with some thunderstorms, a lot of lightning there, then they're just left behind with clouds and showers. And then some severe weather down towards the plain states here. A lot of tornado warnings out towards Oklahoma and Arkansas and over towards Missouri as well. So it's been a pretty active afternoon and active evening for those folks there. Luckily, the severe weather threat will wane by the time it reaches the Miami Valley. We're going to have in the lower 60s for the rest of the night, predominantly cloudy skies. I don't expect much in the way of rainfall, maybe a smash or dash shower on the lighter side, but for the most part, we are dry. The pollen, unfortunately, going to stay high over the next couple of days. We do have some showers and some thunderstorms, but it's just not going to be a whole lot of rain that's going to be able to wash all of that out of here. If you're trying to get something done in the yard, I think the rest of the day today is a good day, as we got at least, another couple of hours of daylight, and then tomorrow morning will be okay. Tomorrow afternoon and through the day on Thursday, probably not the best chance because we've got rain on the way. We're going to be pretty gusty tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist McCall Brightags told you at 5 o'clock. They're really going to be howling 30, 40 miles an hour tomorrow. They'll back off a bit by the time we get into the day on Thursday, with the breeze still from time to time, but certainly not like we have coming our way tomorrow. We have a few embedded thunderstorms tomorrow evening, just in time for the evening rush, and those could be on the strong to severe side, maybe one or two. The better chance of scattered rain and thunderstorms through the day tomorrow, all day. We really got a good chance on Thursday, rather, of seeing scattered showers and thunderstorms. Maybe one or two of those might be on the strong to severe side. A decent amount of rainfall coming our way, maybe about a quarter of an inch for us on Thursday. The main threats, those really gusty winds and some heavy rain at times for us. Overnight tonight, 61 degrees. Pretty comfortable sleeping weather. I like this. And then we've got temperatures about 79 for us tomorrow, but the rain and thunderstorms possible for the afternoon and evening. It's not a complete washout, so don't think that you have to be prepared for all of the rain and embedded thunderstorms and severe weather tomorrow. It's really isolated tomorrow. A better chance for the scattered rain and storms on Thursday. Then we start to cool it off in the upper 60s to around 70, but keep the unsettled weather for Friday and Saturday. Finally, on Sunday, we've got more pleasant weather coming our way, drying out partly cloudy skies. We'll end it on this shot. Patricia Audio send us this shot from Kettering. What a beautiful sunshine that is. Thank you, Patricia. Send us your pictures over on our social media pages.
Thanks, Dante. 4 high-profile men now face federal charges in a corruption investigation. We have Team 7 coverage, including how people in the community can help with this investigation moving forward.
Staffing problems have some parents frustrated after some kids called them to come pick them up at school. Due at 6, what the school and parents are doing, hoping to keep this from happening again.
CBS Tonight, a conspiracy gets its day in court.
A guilty man just walked free.
We're going to keep digging until we know more.
Federal agents.
Agent Gibbs, he doesn't quit. NCIS, there's a professional assassin. A deadly game.
Get back in the car.
Begins. How much time is left? This is nowhere near over. A new FBI after a new NCIS. CBS Tonight.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. Are you thinking of selling your home, but you're not sure which agent to hire? You have a lot of choices, but really, the choice is simple. Because there's only one agent I would trust to sell my home. Go to TammyHomesteam.com and check out Tammy's guarantee to sell your home, or she will buy it. You can also find out how her marketing system creates demand and sells a home every 24 hours. Go to TammyHomesteam.com and get your home sold.
Here's a couple great reasons why you should get to Jeff Weiler Kia in Springfield. You can choose from over 600 new Kias in stock on sale today. Plus, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Go to JeffWeilerKia.com or come see us today on Route 41 in Springfield.
I know there's people that talk about slices, but Party Cut is where it's at.
Pineapple on pizza. I'm a supporter. Like the Hawaiian style pizza.
My favorite toppings have bacon, pepperoni, sausage.
I love the thick crust and the crispiness of the roast pizza.
No matter how you prefer your pizza,
I like the pepperoni pizza. I had to stick to it.
we're glad you prefer our pizza.
More pepperonis, more goodness.
Now get $3 off any order of $20 or more. Use promo code 3. Injuries may occur when playing sports, but there are precautions that we can take to minimize the risk. All athletes should do a thorough warm-up before activity, hydrate properly, and take time off to avoid chronic overuse injuries. It is also important to wear proper equipment and supportive, well-fitting shoes. Contact and collision sport athletes should wear a mouth guard to help prevent dental injuries. If you do experience an injury, please seek appropriate medical attention for evaluation.
I hear you're telling people to call my phone number.
Yes, Kevin, I make no bones about it.
I love it, but why?
Because you really know how to take a bite out of insurance companies.
Smart dog. I'm attorney Kevin Atkinson.
Call 276-9700.
In honor of Adopt a Shelter Pet Day today, the Humane Society of Greater Dayton kicked off an adoption campaign. For the Diamonds in the Rough event is what it's called. All adoption fees are $30. Every person who adopts a pet also has a chance to win a gold diamond necklace worth more than $600. People can also donate $30 to the shelter and have their name added to that drawing. The money raised will help care for homeless pets at the shelter. This event goes through Sunday.
Ohio ranks 37th among states in teacher pay, closer to the bottom than the top. New rankings show nationally their salaries are lower than they were a decade ago with inflation. News Center 7's Kristen Wright went to the head of the biggest teachers union to ask what she expects elected leaders to do about it.
Rachel Immerman always wanted to be a teacher. I have always wanted to work with young people and make sure they understand that they can be successful no matter what. Immerman just got her teaching degree. She travels around the country talking to teaching students. She says she hears from many who are worried about low pay. New rankings by the National Education Association show a 4.5% decrease in average teacher salaries over the past decade after adjusting for inflation. I think that shows what our priorities are as a country, unfortunately. On Capitol Hill Tuesday, lawmakers in the House considered legislation to fund the Department of Education. Democrats are calling for a $4 billion increase from 2019 and a $12 billion hike above President Trump's budget request. But some say the federal government isn't responsible for teacher pay.
This is something that needs to be handled at the district level. They need to be talking to their superintendent and to the school board.
I was there. One of my NEA President Lily Eskelsen Garcia points out that 63% of school districts pay new teachers less than $40,000 a year, driving away the best.
What we're afraid of is that people will shortchange students by saying, well, let's just make it really easy to be a teacher. Let's just keep, we'll just keep a bunch of warm bodies in this room. This is a profession.
Critics say the federal government spends enough money on education and that school districts should look to their own budgets to come up with more money to pay teachers fairly. Reporting in Washington, Kristen Wright, News Center 7.
Student investors at the University of Dayton were able to avoid last week's collapse in Tesla prices, and they even came away with a profit. Students involved in Kudla Dynamic Allocation Fund were able to sell the stocks for a predetermined amount. This came before shares fell more than 5% for Tesla on Friday. Since the student managed fund started 6 years ago, it has grown by almost 50%.
From the WHIO Broadcast Center in high definition, this is News Center 7. The people of Dayton deserve better.
A former city commissioner and a former state lawmaker among 4 men indicted for corruption and fraud. And this evening, investigators say there could be more arrests. Federal authorities are looking for your help in a long-running corruption investigation unveiled today targeting Dayton city government. Good evening. I'm Cheryl McHenry.
I'm James Brown. This investigation is the biggest of its kind the city has ever seen. Former Dayton City Commissioner Joey Williams, former state rep Clayton Luckey, current city employee Rashawn Winburn, and Dayton businessman Brian Higgins.
We have Team 7 coverage at 6. News Center 7's Jim Oddie reports the FBI and Justice Department are looking for average citizens to come forward with information about kickbacks, payoffs, contract steering, anything that might help the next phase of this investigation.
And let's first start with Jim. He live outside the federal building in Dayton for us. I want to show you something as we start here. Take a look across the street here at the federal building here and at the gate here. This is where the targets of this investigation were brought in here this morning after their arrest. Much of the focus of this probe is on kickbacks, contract steering, mostly for demolition projects that went to certain companies. And so where does it stand now? What happens next? The feds say they need your help.
We would definitely appreciate the public's assistance in any information that members of the public have regarding these types of allegations, bring them to the attention of the FBI.
Benjamin Glassman, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Ohio, says this long-running investigation may produce additional charges against other targets. Former City Commissioner Joy Williams, former State Rep Clayton Lucky, current city employee Rashawn Winberg, and businessman Brian Higgins were all charged and facing prison time if convicted. Authorities, though, want people to come forward and call the FBI if they know anything about corruption in Dayton city government.
This is not the end of the road. And I want to assure everyone and let the message go out that the state government, that the local jurisdictions, that the federal government are cooperating on these matters.
I was in the courtroom this afternoon when the four men who were charged went before a federal magistrate. All of them pled not guilty. Prosecutors say this is only the first wave of this corruption case.
I expect there to be more arrests and more charges going forward. But in order to complete the ongoing investigation, we really could use the public's assistance.
Authorities would not name anyone else who might be involved in this, saying only additional charges could be coming, and they need the public's help.
We ask for anyone with information related to these individuals' alleged practices or other related corruption to contact the FBI Public Corruption Tip Line. And I'd like to give you a number. The phone number is 937-291-5222.
And we're back live at the federal courthouse here in downtown Dayton. At that court appearance that was at this afternoon, the four men targeted as they appeared in court here. They were in handcuffs and shackles. Some of their family members were with them. The four did not say much in court, only to say yes on occasion when the magistrate there asked them, "Do you understand the charges against you?" We're live in Dayton, Jim Otte, News Center 7.
As you saw in that video, some of these suspects ran away from our cameras as they left court. Others had attorneys and family members speak for them. News Center 7's Kate Bartley is live outside the federal building in downtown Dayton. Kate, all of these men say they did nothing wrong.
All four pleaded not guilty on the 5th floor of this federal building today. And then most of them came out of this door and told us the same thing, at least those who would talk to us. Joey Williams, former Dayton City Commissioner, current federal bribery suspect. Mr. Williams, do you have any comment?
No. My attorney's not going to make it.
Did you accept any bribes?
No.
Did you have a cheap patio built onto your house as a part of all this? Prosecutors say he took free benefits like cash and discounts on a patio on his home in exchange for contracts with the city. Williams didn't want to answer any questions, but his defense attorney told us he's advising Williams not to.
And he loves the city of Dayton, wants to continue to participate in its growth and vitality. But look, right now, he's undergoing a difficult situation for him and his family.
Tell us
We just got the indictment today, so.
This attorney represents Brian Higgins, who investigators say committed wire and mail fraud when he lied about a 600-gallon fish tank at his home. Clayton Lucky left the federal building through a side door without saying anything, and Rashawn Winberg raced to a running car parked just outside. Do you have any statement to make? Were you filing false invoices with the city of Dayton? But his father took an emotional tone.
I'm shocked. My heart is hurting right now.
Roland Winburn is a former state representative. He says he's learned today his son is accused of taking more than $20,000 in cash bribes related to his position with the city of Dayton.
It's like your son is in an accident and there's a death involved. A father doesn't want his son to die. A parent wants to go before the son. It's kind of pulling the rug out from under you.
Winburn supports his son and says the allegations seem totally out of character. There was definitely a sense of things just beginning for both sides here today, for prosecutors building their case, and then for those defense attorneys preparing to aggressively defend their clients. Live in Dayton, Kate Bartley, News Center 7.
City taxpayers and contractors wanting to do business with Dayton are vocal tonight after hearing about this federal corruption investigation against the city employee and former city commissioner. The federal prosecutors, as we've been talking about, charged those 4 men in this corruption probe. 3 of them former or current city officials accused of taking kickbacks to steer city contracts. News Center 7's Mike Campbell joins us live from City Hall. Mike, you talked with some city leaders and people concerned about a level playing field for everybody in the city.
Yeah, James, this afternoon, Dayton City leaders did respond to that federal investigation that alleges that. And I can tell you that inside the doors here in a room where former Commissioner Williams once served, they told us they now know they have a lot of work to do to build back the trust they could lose because of these corruption charges.
That's been around since the beginning of time.
Fletcher McKinney has been a contractor in Dayton for decades. He doesn't like hearing city contracts may have been illegally awarded.
Any contractor wants to be on an even playing field. I mean, whether it's you or whether it's me, we make a bid, the best bid gets the job.
And Dayton City leaders said Tuesday afternoon, that's the way it should work. They're now using outside law firms and city staffers to review all city contracts that could involve current employee Rashawn Winburn and former city commissioner Joy Williams, both charged with wrongdoing by federal investigators.
I think whenever something like this happens, the first thing we have to do is manage through it.
Dayton City Manager Shelley Dickstein says she's frustrated at the charges and frustrated because it puts questions in the minds of taxpayers about 1,900 city employees.
Always worried about fallout. And primarily worried about how it casts shadows on all of the great public service that the city does day in and day out.
I've always heard, most politicians are crooked.
Fletcher McKinney says he trusts city workers, but doesn't always trust politicians. And he's cynical about a level playing field.
If I can pad your pocket, you pad somebody else's pocket, that's the way it works. Gotcha. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's a buddy system. It's, it is what it is.
The city manager promised and guaranteed a wide-ranging internal investigation to try and uncover any further corruption that could be involved in the city processes, and did also announce that the one current city employee, Rashawn Winburn, has been placed on unpaid administrative leave. Reporting live in downtown Dayton, Mike Campbell, News Center 7.
And right now, News Center 7 is working to get you additional information.
This investigation into corruption in the Dayton area remains ongoing and is likely to produce more arrests.
And tonight, our crews are working to talk with Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley. The mayor has my phone number. She's more than happy to call at any time. We are also putting information, including pictures and video, of our news app and WHIO.com.
Staffing is a big problem at a local elementary school. Parents and school leaders just met minutes ago. We're working to see if they reached a solution.
He disappeared, and then several weeks later, hikers found his body. Now, investigators are working. This is a homicide case. The help they are getting and what brought them to this apartment building.
We're with Oprah for her big Hollywood honor, and Mean Girls turns 15, which you never knew. Next ET.
Tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
Get more enjoyment out of your outdoor space with patio enclosures. Right now, receive 25% off sunrooms. This offer won't last long. Call today. Patio enclosures.
Most people do not want to go to a nursing care facility, and they want to stay in the comforts of their home. And where Area Agency of Aging comes in, they're giving them some direction, some resources. They're doing everything and trying everything that they can to keep them home. They matter. They truly, truly matter.
Get your next Cadillac with lifetime powertrain coverage and our best price guarantee. Only at Jeff Schmidt Cadillac in Beaver Creek.
The XT4 is stunning inside and out. Lease for $359 a month. Experience the advantage at JeffSchmidtCadillac.com.
Do you have a Social Security disability claim which has been denied, or a workers' compensation claim from a work-related injury? Call the Social Security, Disability, or Workers' Compensation lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries.
Get more enjoyment out of your outdoor space with patio enclosures. Right now, receive 25% off sunrooms. This offer won't last long. Call today.
If a fire breaks out at your house, how long will it take firefighters to reach you?
With that increased response time, that could truly mean life or death.
I'll show you why some local response times have gone up and what that means for your family's safety.
With one threat to life call, that completely depletes our resources.
How this could end up costing you more even if you never have a fire, and what some say needs to change to save lives. The I-Team investigates firefighter response times Thursday beginning at 5:30 on News Center 7.
News Center 7 is brought to you by Lee's Famous Recipe, famous for chicken.
The state's crime lab is now involved in a Greene County homicide case. The Bureau of Criminal Investigation is helping the Greene County Sheriff's Office investigate the death of Leonid Clark. And as News Center 7's Molly Kowick tells us, the agency was at a Yellow Springs apartment complex recently where neighbors knew Clark. Law enforcement didn't need a search warrant to get in the door here at Twin Coach Apartment. The landlord says that's because he let them in. Neighbors say Leonid Lanya Clark used to hang around the Twin Coach Apartments in Yellow Springs.
And I found him to be a gentle, kind person, but he was a troubled soul.
Very friendly, a nice young man.
The Greene County Sheriff's Office is now looking into his death as a homicide and called in the state's crime lab to help.
They were in for maybe less than a half hour.
Paul Mayhes, the complex's owner, didn't want us to show him on camera, but says he gave the Bureau of Criminal Investigation the go-ahead to look inside.
My current tenant also gave them permission.
But he says they didn't find useful information.
Came out and said there was no evidence at all and thanked us and took off.
Now, neighbors who knew Clark want to know what happened to the 26-year-old whose body was found by mushroom hunters earlier this month.
We want to know the answers.
The community knows already a lot about the story and doesn't know a lot about the story.
In a statement, BCI told me, due to the ongoing nature of the investigation, please direct any additional questions to the Greene County Sheriff. News Center 7 is going to continue to follow the latest in this investigation. Be sure to stay with us on the air and online. In Yellow Springs, Molly Kowick, News Center 7.
Happening now here at the Dayton Public Schools office, a meeting underway where parents tell me they plan to address their concerns about staffing issues at one local elementary school. We'll tell you if district leaders can reach a solution.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms move back into the Miami Valley for you tomorrow. The threat for severe weather comes along with it. I'll track those storms for you coming up.
Elk & Elk. When a medical mistake causes you injury, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
Need a morning victory? Get a sausage McMuffin with egg, bacon, egg, and